Okay, guys, I'm starting the recorded meeting. Thank you very much for your time and your support. My name is Oscar Posada. I'm senior architect for NCR Aptra. In this module, to learn what is the requirement to installation in Windows Server operation system and what is the requirement to preview installation NCR Aptra Vision solution. Let me check the operation system quickly and 5 minutes and start the webinar. Okay, I'm start the check the assign to host name to virtual machine and the assign to configuration the IP address for communication for all the network in this environment. And now the host name and the IPS CFE, it's okay. I have all the software in my desktop. I view and check in 1 second. Okay, I have assigned the IP configuration, and I have in the desktop all the software, the media software. And now in this moment, it's necessary to check the requirement to performance. Aptra Vision is a solution to is necessary. Very hard high hardware, in particular, and the memory RAM. In this model, this is a virtual machine. I have the CPU Xeon. In this moment, I running the 2 gigahertz, and I have 22 gigabyte of RAM. The use in this moment is very low, is 7%, and I have a gigabit Ethernet. This is the necessary. The minimal necessary requirement for Aptra Vision starting is 24 gigabyte of RAM, only to start the service. It's very high consuming to start the Aptra Vision solution, but it's necessary. Now, let me check the SQL. Okay, I don't have in this moment SQL Server installation, but no problem. I check the it's necessary connect the ISO for the start the installation. 1 second, please. Let me insert the file ISO in my environment. Let me check. Okay, SQL Server. Okay, I got it. I'm starting the setup, and when this started running the SQL Server on the last version, we will wizard installation. Okay, I started the first requirement, installation the database environment and standalone. I'm started the new installation the SQL Server in standalone instance. This script is not necessary in this moment. Now I close. Okay, let me check. Okay, they have the update. Okay, it's necessary check the update for this software. It's okay, I don't have problem with this. Okay, all its patches, it's okay. Press next. Okay, I'm installation the SQL. Okay, enable the product key. Let me check 1 second. It's necessary the license key. Okay, it's okay with the licensing. I check all the contract. And starting with the instant features configuration, it's necessary the database engine service. It's necessary the client tools connectivity. And with this installation, only this. I press next. Okay, I use the default name instance and continue with the installation. Okay, allowable error. This is okay. Close the boxing error button. Okay, let me check in the services.msc if you have other installation for Microsoft SQL Server running in this server. Yes, it's correct. Okay, I have ready to the database. Okay, let me check. Oh yes, it's installing. It's installing. Okay, that's right. I don't remember when we saw the environment, but it's okay, no problem. Oh yeah, I remember. It's necessary to allow the client, only the client. Let me try the client for Microsoft SQL Server. And your environment, it's not necessary to take this activity. It's not part of the roles for NCR Aptra Administration. And the regular or the average is that end customer have the area for database and the specialty for database deployed all configuration for SQL Server. They'll installation for best practice for configuration, and they'll install the SQL Server Management Studio. Now is no responsibility for NCR Aptra Vision administration. I have a question in the chat. Perry, the Perry question is, Mr. Prasada, I have possibility to start the NCR engine with 24 gigabyte of RAM. Yes, it's correct. Running, but with slow, very slow. In my experience, the best practice is have 26 gigabyte of RAM, 28 gigabyte of RAM for minimal. Pushing me away in this environment, it's necessary to take the very high memory of RAM for this deploy in this environment. Or the production environment, I view environment with 64 gigabyte of RAM. I view other environment 128 gigabyte of RAM with yes, I have. Yes, that is correct. Yeah, but remember, the Aptra Vision is the application, the high level enterprise. It's not, for example, it's not for PMS or for small company. Aptra Vision, it's or designate for bank, middle bank, high bank, peak bank with high number of devices. Remember this. And the environment, let me check the architect diagram. Okay, I have problem with navigate for external internet. Let me check again what is the EPCFG. Okay, dot. I have a error. Let me try again with other browser. Ah, okay, that's right. There's no problem. Okay, I finished with the installation. The client for Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio is necessary. Restart the server. And restart the server. I continue. We're meeting NCR Aptra Vision and coffee. In the night, it's correct. What with the people in Europe and Spain and Germany? What time in this moment? Nice. Yeah, Mexico City is in the morning. Start the day in this moment. Yeah, it's night. Okay, the Windows server again is power on. Okay, let me try start the client SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, I got it. Let me try login to the system administration. Oh, I don't remember what is the password for database administration. Okay, that's right. I got it. The first, it's necessary to create the database for Aptra Vision. Yeah, the first task is create the database. This activity is an automatic. It's not necessary. But for example, let me try the okay, that's right. Yeah, this is the system configuration. The version for Vision is the version 4. It's necessary to create the directory when you install the application. In this moment is here in unit C. The name directory is Aptra Vision. Okay, I have the folder Aptra Vision 2. I copy this information, the where is the install directory. Okay, the load balancer URL is not necessary for the installation. What is the reference, all the support for the, but not is necessary in this installation. This environment is standalone, it's not installed in cluster. For example, I have the host name Aptra or You can use a local host, for example. If it's necessary, take the correct FQDN or the host resolution. For example, I share the best practice. For this installation in this environment is not production, it's the laboratory. But here it's necessary to take the load balancer URL. Let me open the drywall. One second, please. Let me put in the screen the Dragio application. Okay, you can see the Dragio application. Yeah, excellent. Bye. Okay. For example, it's necessary. I have the Aptra Vision server. This is my NCR Aptra Vision 4. Okay, this is my application engine. But with this, I have the database. My database server Aptra Vision database server. What application run inside of my Aptra Vision server? Run in this server Vision Engine, Incident Management, and sorry, Business Intelligence. And now I have 3 solutions to internal for my Aptra Vision. If I have my engine, for example, this icon. I have Aptra Vision engine, yeah, I have running in this standalone server Incident Management, and I run into Business Intelligence, all in the equal server. Yep. I have other scenario when the Aptra Vision database server running in other physical server or an other virtual server. In this laboratory, the NCR Aptra Vision server and the Aptra Vision database server running in the equal or the similar environment. This is is my stack. This is my NCR Aptra Vision 4.x. Environment. And all my environment running on Windows Server. I need the Windows Server lock. Okay, all the equal. For example, this is my environment lab. Okay, in the production environment, it's necessary to take for best practice the Windows Server, physical or virtual, for Aptra Vision application server, Aptra Vision engine, and Aptra Vision incident management and business intelligence. And it's necessary to take communication. For example, let me try this environment and go to back. It's necessary to the web console. You see, okay, I have SQL Server in this environment, but it's my Aptra Vision database server primary, and Aptra Vision application server is primary server. It's necessary to take this environment for my high availability or cluster installation. Okay, I have my primary server for Aptra Vision, and I have my database server primary. And now, this is my first site or my production site. For example, site A or 1. It's production environment. And you have the equal configuration and other site, and this notice the primary is a secondary for application server, for Vision engine and Vision incident management and business intelligence. Secondary server is a site number 2, or disaster recovery planning. Okay, the communication is LAN to LAN or a VPN or LAN or WAN, wherever. The communication is very clear. It's necessary note no high latency. For example, it is necessary to take the firewall visible proactive to the in and out. I've hide my DNS server. Take my Aptra Vision web client. This is a POSIX client, the end user. It's necessary to, in production environment, the simple mail my simple mail. Okay. Transport protocol. It's necessary to the first or the primary or the secondary, but that's not not necessary. For example, if if I take the request in my Aptra Vision web client, this request send the DNS server, and a DNS server take the configuration to redirect the request to the primary server, to the primary Aptra Vision web console, or if have degraded or impact in my primary server, it's necessary change this traffic to the secondary server in the disaster recovery planning environment. This change between the primary and the secondary is for load balancing. And with this, the client take the communication, send the request. For example, it's necessary enter the Aptra Vision environment. The load balancer take the communication with for example, the first environment. If the first environment have crashing, for example, the DNS not three-way handshake or the live availability response to the primary server under configuration, and the DNS server it's okay, the first is no response, okay, I trans all the traffic request for Aptra Vision application server to the secondary environment or disaster recovery planning environment. Yeah, and this is for TLS. And in this case, the primary server take communication with the simple mail transfer protocol. I don't like this line. Okay, let me move. Yeah, excellent. The communication with the primary server and secondary server is between the agent check availability engine in the Aptra Vision engine. I'm explaining. The Aptra Vision engine in the primary server check the life cycle to respond to ECMP or ping with the secondary server, the layer 4 for OSI. For example, the primary activities or responsibility for Aptra Vision engine it's check the Aptra Vision engine on disaster recovery planning environment, and the Aptra Vision engine in disaster recovery planning check the service running and availability host and availability application engine, the primary server. In this scenario, if the secondary server Aptra Vision engine check and validate 5 minute check the availability in the host and the availability in the application. If the secondary server check the availability host and availability engine and the engine and host no response, the primary no response to the secondary server, and this moment and the secondary server take the responsibility for all requests all the environment for monitor for automation tiller machine. In this moment the secondary server take the role for master. Yeah, the primary server is the master server, is the role running in this moment. But if the primary server no responds the secondary server start the flag to the master server, and all the environment for monitoring for ATN take the responsibility for disaster recovery planning environment. The database take communication for replication for secondary environment, and this replication is SQL always on. Yeah, this is the production environment best practice. This the small environment for laboratory, and this is a big environment in production. I have a question in the chat. Oh, let me write. Tiago. Okay. Tiago say, Oscar, it's the best practice is necessary to take disaster recovery planning. Yes, it's recommendable. It's the recommendation for the end customer take primary server and secondary server in the level application database notification management. I'm sorry, I'm freeze for 1 second. Notification management and DNS server. The DNS server is the unique point to the risk to the end customer, not sure or not take the possibility to respond the primary or secondary web application server. But if the DNS server is crashed, for example, the Aptra Vision web client take the opportunity to request directly an IP address to the primary or the secondary. You have the plan A is for use the DNS server, but the plan B or the disaster recovery planning to the Aptra Vision web client is use the IP address for primary or secondary server. Yeah, excellent. And continue with the Aptra Vision environment. Okay, and continue with this. The load balancer, in this moment I don't have load balancer, but I'm started with localhost. The load balancer in this moment for me is Aptra, and the host is Aptra. I don't have high availability, but my application server host name is Aptra. And now the source setting, the user is admin and the password default is the admin password. The email setting for default have the simple mind transfer protocol, use the local host. The default is the port 25. The protocol is the SMTP. The admin password is admin2. The default, the from in this case is for me, for my environment is Aptra or Vision .mx for this environment. And okay, let me try for the last one. Oh, okay, the host involved is the equal as the local host. If you have, for example, Microsoft Exchange or Google email or other professional or enterprise communication, in the email setting it's necessary to take this configuration for the simple main transfer protocol. And continue with the voice dispatch, and this knows the table account. This knows necessary to take the voice dispatch setting configuration for this environment, but in the real project it's necessary to take voice dispatch setting configuration with the token authentication, the phone number, and the operation transfer number. Yes, as the voice in this moment, for example, the asterisk on wherever configuration application for voice. And continue and use the application configuration and change the database configuration. In the database configuration you can share the two options, the option for the Oracle configuration setting or the Microsoft SQL Server setting. For this environment I use the Microsoft SQL Server, and my database IP address or my host name I validate if that being for Aptra. Okay, I take response and trace for Aptra. Okay, and I look up Aptra. Okay, I respond only for the IP address. And now this I'm starting with the local host. The local host or 001 or Aptra Vision. The configuration is the user system administration and the magic password. All this data is the reference to the CXP database name, the reference, the instance, and the user administration and the password. CXP, Vision, DIBS, the equal to the password, the analytics password, and reconciliation, recon, and recon password. The user password is equal for default. If you have for security and best practice change this information, the password or user, it's no problem, but this is the option correct to change this parameter after for installation. And the Oracle is not a necessary change this information. I don't use for laboratory Oracle database. I use Microsoft SQL Server. The port is correct. And let me check the testing database connection. Okay, I have problem with the credential. And continue and check system administration. Okay, take again, and database connection is successful. Okay, successfully. I set this configuration, installation properties. Okay, and I go again. We check where is the date modified for my installation properties. Okay, this is the file. I copy this information and I go to the database create script. In the database create script directory, I paste this. And I'm started running the database install, but it's necessary open the Microsoft SQL Server. And I'm running the script to create the database. CMD or command prompt, and I'm running as administration. And I go to the change directory and user. I'm start for the database installation that. Okay, the square home directory is no longer a requirement when the installation database continue. Let me check again the installation properties. Okay, I'm load those installation properties, but and the database creation script. Okay, installation properties. Okay, the installation directories. Okay, Aptra. Okay, admin. Okay, the configuration for local host, not dispatch. The database IP address, and I check connection again. Okay, this correct. Okay, this correct. Okay, all is correct. And the BI configuration, oh yes, I done configuration, yes please. Okay, let me save again this file. NCR installation properties, yes, but in the folder database creation script. Okay, let me try again. Database install SQL home directory. Let me think, what is the problem? Okay. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. So it's necessary to use the installation properties and the database application client. In this moment, database installation shell running all the code and use the installation properties for connection the database and create the analyst instance database, CXP instance database, LABS reconciliation instance database, Vision, the Vision technology information, and the Vision hardware. This is all the instance necessary to install Aptra Vision server, Aptra Vision business intelligence, and Aptra Vision incident management. With this, it's not necessary continue with the command prompt and start exit. and continue with the installation for Aptra Vision. I take this installation properties file and then paste in the NCR software root directory. Continue with the installation. I minimize this Windows and continue with the open the PowerShell with run as administration and copy the Aptra Vision home installation directory and change directory to the Aptra Vision home installation and the media installation, and with this I'm running the shell installer, sorry, the number correct is installer.ps1. Okay, I'm start, press enter and start installation for Vision version 4. At this moment the installation start with copy all application and zip to the Aptra Vision installation directory in the local disk. For example, the first files with the size in the 0 kilobyte and installation packet properties. With the installation run in this moment, I copy all information to the logical disk, and the secondary task is unzip the information. The other task is running the installation properties and the installation dat or installation command, and the last is create the services and the services.msc for Aptra Vision. This activity take around 10 minutes or 23 minutes. Its reference for this velocity to installation isn't referee is the hard disk. Installation is the hard disk mechanic, or if your environment have storage SSD, it's very high on velocity. The difference between the installation in storage SSD or the HDD, the difference is around 23 minutes, and the SSD storage, I remember the installation around 10 minutes, on the hard disk around 23 minutes. Now let me pause the recording for a session, and I continue with the recording in around 10 or 23 minutes. If necessary, take the little break in this moment. If you have the opportunity to go to the bathroom or take coffee or take tea, is the good time. And continue in 1 second. Yeah, look the increment in the side from the disk, the Aptra Vision installation directory, and look the increment used for memory and use or CPU. Let me change to the overall utilization. Check and check the memory. So increment. In this moment, use the 21%. Okay, the installation for module is finished to the Vision service, the incident management service, the synchronization, reconciliation, journal management is finished in this moment. In complete installation, notes error, all running in correct state in this moment. Can you see the increment for use the memory? I'm started with 3 GB in the operation system, and this moment the use for the memory is increment of 52%, and finish the installation. Check the use memory is an increment. Okay, all it's okay, the database, and all it's okay with the installation. The use memory it's okay, but in this moment let me check those services, the legal operation system. Okay, I have in this moment the NCR services for Aptra Vision solution. You can see the banking platform, you can see the distribution, the map server, incident management, reconciliation engine, the search engine, transaction management, integration, core services, application running. Well, it's okay in this moment. It's running, okay, running. Well, it's okay. Okay, excellent. Can you see that I use the memory? In this moment, I use the 6% 21 GB only for starting the Aptra Vision services. Only for a start application. Please wait a second. Let me check if all it's okay with the start in first time the application engine. Okay, let me check again the list of memory. Okay, let's increment. The incremented memory is reference to the starting all the services installed in this environment. All this information, all in NCR services, it's natural used in memory operation system. The application server, I think not complete the running. Okay, let me check other browser. Use more, it's okay. me check the configuration for host. I don't remember declaring the host name in that file. Okay. Aptra Vision localhost, it's okay. Check the EP version 6. Okay. Let me try it with localhost. Localhost. CXP core web application. Okay, the use of memory, it's stable in this moment. Now increment more. Use all the services is running in this moment. Okay. The first time they'll open the core application web, take the time around 10 minutes in average. The first time. Okay, the memory increment, and in this moment I view stable. The use in this moment is 62% and 23 gigabyte use. Okay, let me try validate if the web application server it's running. Yes, it's running at this moment. People have Aptra Vision environment in your laboratory. Check the access, the first access with the user admin, and I remember the establish the user admin. I don't remember if the user is admin. Okay. If they have problematic with the access, you can try check the user in the properties archive admin. Okay. Yes, the user default admin or access, and now in this scenario you can do two options. The first is reset the password for the user administration, or wait 10 minutes more and wait the possibility to start stop the running the services or the internal engine. Okay, I'm continuing with the access. Let me try with the default password. The default password for this environment is password 100. Okay, that's correct. The actual password, monitoring that okay, and change the password. In this moment you have the first login in the environment NCR Aptra Vision version 4. This is an amazing solution for monitor automation teller machine. You have the domain in this moment. The first domain is the red, the networks. In this moment I take the configuration in Spanish, but let me change the language. The first is my network. In my network you have the visibility to all automation teller machine and monitoring. The secondary you can see the tile for the incident. The type for incident. In this moment I don't have nothing, not have attached or discovery automation teller machine news. The secondary domain is the journal. You can see the electronic journal. You can take information around the information. The journal in particular on global for all devices, for one devices. The three domain is the file distribution. The file distribution, with this option you have the possibility for distribution, software, program, fixback, image, and other. This option is used for one ATM or all one networks, all ATM in the networks. You have this option for create groups, create zones, create regions, and with this option you have the capability to distribution software and create structure for automation deployed, automation notification, automation create a incident. The next domain is the inventory. With the inventory you have all information around the information teller machine, for example the name of model, the version, the use for CPU, memory, RAM, the device, for example dispenser, EPP. You have more information around the operation system, the hardware, and the ATM. The next domain is the business intelligence. With this you have all type for reporting for uptime, reporting for event, reporting for high availability, reporting for incident, reporting for request. All dashboard it's here in business intelligence. And with business intelligence you have the option for BI, and with this take all the structure for report the fault or the bugs. With business intelligence you have the option to create new report, design new information, and create automation deployed for new report. For example, if you need to start the day send in automatic the report to the uptime, for example, to take the option and possibility to create and design this report in particular and scheduler the send information in format for .pdf or format Excel or Word, for example. You have the network status, you have the open incident, you have other informs, you you have all information in this model. In this moment, the environment is in blank, don't have data, but this is the option for default in this particular laboratory. It's necessary to take very clear the use of memory. Aptra Vision is the high application for monitoring. It's complete suite, have different model, and this is the what is the reason for take all the RAM used in this moment. Yeah. The next model is reconciliation. And the reconciliation module, you have the option to, with the name say reconciliation del data. For example, if you have a professional dispenser or dispenser, the reconciliation engine, it's necessary this configuration for this model with this job. Clear all data dispenser in my environment. The next model is a model with reference to administration. You have the option to administration the security for group, for user, for the terminal or automation teller machine, or device in monitoring. You take the registry for auditory. You take the preference for user. You have the terminal from license and data for administration. And the last, you have the administration option for change the password on close the session. I change the full screen my browser. And administration, you have the management, the security group. In this, for example, you have the opportunity to create new data. A lot of security group, for example, the default is administration, the default out of the box you have audit, but you have, for example, cache management group, installation ATM group. You have other, for example, security access, control for ATM, monitoring area, wherever. All the group of security, it's here in this configuration domain. The next is the user management. In this moment, the only user in the environment out of the box is the user admin, but you have the opportunity to create new user. For example, in this particular scenario, my name is Oscar. My username, my password, confirm password, and my organization. Continue and selection what is the group assigned this user. In this moment my user is administration group, and apply, and I take my user OPZA, my user admin, the user OPZA use, and take the details with reference the security group and the terminal assigned. In the scenario, if I take the role, for example, for user monitor and assign different terminal in this layer, I have the visibility to control the assigner for terminal. The next domain is the preference for user, and click in preference user, and I check the devices. For example, I take the option for change this information, and devices, for example, you take the possibility for use the dollar, the terminal or the navigate, and I have the possibility to take the 22 or all others options. Yeah. And the terminal ID or automation tiller machine host name, you have the possibility for check the primary ID, the alias or machine name. The default is the primary ID. I continue and come back to the administration. Management terminal. The management terminal is all the devices and monitoring. For the more is take this information. The natural of the lot of the box is when you install the unified agent. The unified agent is the agent with the management monitoring. This application or these services take the possibility to recollect all information in a XFS layer, and with this information integrate in automatic with Aptra Vision. I continue administration menu. And the audit all change in the Aptra Vision web console. It's reference, it's grade, and it's audit. You can request the audit report. You can change, you can take the control for visibility, the what is the activity for user in specific. For example, you can view the other user, for example my user. You can export all the data and have all data details around the audit in the environment web for Aptra Vision. I continue in the administration domain. Okay, this option, the preferred user, it's clear, no problem. And I continue in the domain administration. And the last and most important option, administration data. And the administration data, you take the control for personalize all information and all inventory, all data, in particular for Aptra Vision. For example, in this moment the default is the language in Spanish, but I can change the language. It's very clear, it's very easy. And in other moment view this option. But the data administration, you have the custom data, the category data in particular. This is problematic is the relationship to the host name, in particular resolution of host name, but it's clear, it's no problem the environment, it's only the solution for host name. Okay, you can check the journal in specific, retention for data, integration for data, and terminal for data. You can change the level of service level agreement. In this moment the default is unique, then initial dispatch. You check the threshold for cache management. You can see the change the option for load new data information. Okay, the load for new data information, a role for users tenant, the full category, incident data, etc. It's correct. You can see the different zones already, the configuration, well, time zones starting to the weeks. For example, then in Mexico, start the week is a Monday. The election code. Oh, I had a error. I had the event chronic, the component. Okay, the alarm, barcode, camera, dispenser, CMD dispenser 1, 2, 3, 4, cassette, the equal number 1, 2, 3, 4, the unit, depositor, all model for automation teller machine, in particular, auto service devices. The knowledge base, for example, if it's repetitive, if it's problematic in the environment production, if it's necessary take the control documental to take the startup or the complete documentation over the how solution in particular one problematic. For example, if it's knowledge global in the monitor area, for example, the devices dispenser repeat in 2 occasions the reset dispenser command. If the knowledge documentation for my role for administration Aptra Vision, or for my role for business analyst documentation, this information in this apartheid. Case of use, for example, reset dispenser. If you have, for example, the scenario when if dispenser reset for those for 2 reset model and not clear the problem, continue with start incident to resolution drops NCR in January, for example, and take right, and if it's necessary in the future and modify this reference to reset dispenser problematic, and you can see that, for example, the scenario problem to the dispenser to the NCR 6623 ATM dispenser. Problem tech, no cash dispenser. Next, generate incident and service request to NCR and service on site. Oh yeah. For example, reset dispenser hero code 23. With this reference and with this scenario, the next slide, the general for incident and request service to the NCR service on site. The next is the table of code. Vision take the dictionary for extension financial service, or the XFS, and with this XFS you have the possibility for review around for this number of coded status, and with this codec of duration you can see, for example, the Vision extension for financial service status code. If you have, for example, NCR, I don't remember where is the NCR, the ATM node communication or shutdown. uh, Heartbeat. Yeah, Heartbeat. Heartbeat, NCR Heartbeat is the status code to explain the lost communication with the application or agent. The name for agent for Vision is unified agent. When the unified agent lost communication with Aptra Vision, NCR Vivid take this event in the web console. With this event in particular, you have the option to create the new rules for automatic signal on incident to the resolution group, for example, the engineering for NCR or others providers. And with this, you have all visibility around what is the correct event information to create new business role to deploy event management or incident management in particular. The next is the contact. And with the contact, you have, for example, take the option to create new contact for cash in transit company. ID the contact is number 1. The type of contact is the ETB. Organization is ETB 01. Type of contact, service team. And the organization, I don't remember organization at this moment. It's clear. The time zone in this moment, the people is in Germany. For use the default. Use the Northern Mexico. The email cash in transit and etb.com, for example. And write this information. And the organization, in this moment my organization is clear, but yet I take the opportunity to create new organization. Aptra Vision take the option to use the monitor management area for others company. For example, for others bank is reference to bank. Aptra Vision take this option today. For example, bank 1, bank 2, ETB 1, V2, or in the United States, cash in transit 1, for example. Or I take the opportunity for cash in transit 2. On others, when you create a new contact and create a new, for example, the bank user 1, the ID contact is number 2, the organization, for example, here take the bank number 1 or bank number 2. We'll use the number 1. The type of contact is branch. Then we'll go yes, bank user 1 bank b1 dot yes, for example. And I take the option to view all the tiles, the protocols to contact, the radius to attention, and that others node. I continue with notification for solution and solicitation contact. I use the from the branch, service tag, the engineering, telecommunication, security, operations, escalation engineer, operation 1, security 2. It's all the resolution group. I continue with the type of contact. I take the branch, the engineering, security. For example, I take the option for create a new, create NCR engineering, for example, or monitoring team, or incident management team, or they'll install team ATM, or for example the cache control. And the next domain is in reference to where is the protocol to contact the email NCR electronic dispatcher, TCP for dispatcher, or you can create, for example, call not usable until I don't use in this moment create the template to the exit. Now take the option to reference. It's necessary cancel. But for example, in email you have the email, the notification is for email in particular, and template the output is the template 1.txt. For the electronic journal, there's equal configuration with parameters in particular, the TCP/IP, the file dispatcher, cloud-based and dispatcher, the template dispatcher, and the call. They call will declare out an XML format, and what is the interval? What check the in and seconds. In this moment is 3, 0. The next is the presentation, and the presentation and category for filer. It's with this reference and with this color. The template out of the box is all in color white. I'm sorry. The next is the list of vacation. For example, I take vacation and with this configuration you can see where is the vacation, where is the day, the availability, and where the hours in particular. For example, I'm start my vacation in my week in this. I don't have availability. And great, ready. Okay, the solution code in this moment is not running. It's necessary configuration this model. The next is monitor transaction. It's a necessary configuration too. What is the threshold to transaction in the automation tutor machine? The next is host leak transaction threshold. the service integration with other application. In this moment is the connectors. You can see other option for integration above the XML files or folder configuration too. And the last one is the reconciliation engine. In this moment, no app licensing. Let me check the change of language, close the session, and for example, the user preference language, take the option to United States for Spanish and change the language to English. The login is, for example, for me is my user and password. And with this login and change the language, can you see the difference? In this moment I navigate for the the Aptra Vision solution web, and you can see all data in English, and you can see my name, my full name. You can see also my network, my field, and this is the control for inventory for all terminal. For example, in this moment I don't have terminal in Aptra Vision, but I have this default option: the primary IRD, the address, the alias, the city, the IP address, the priority for automation, tier machine and services, the time zone, the vendor type, NCR, label, high soon, etc. The latitude, the longitude, the phone. You have the option to configuration the custom field. For example, other parameters for new configuration of the box. For example, the cache in transit name, it's here. The domain or reference zone for ATM, it's here. If you need the new custom attribute called custom field with the visibility in this option. And the next option is the electronic journal, the attribute to get on demand, on the automatic. You can see continue the category value and the unified agent configuration. In this moment I repeat the name for monitoring and Aptra Vision. The source is the unified agent. I continue to view the overview for Aptra Vision web application. Next, the electronic journal. And next, the software distribution, the inventory module, the business intelligence, reconciliation, and administration options. And with this, complete the model for installation and overview for Aptra Vision in the version 4. I'm starting the forum for question and answer. The first question, Maggie. The question is, business intelligence is necessary clear take the install other client? No, no, it's necessary. All activity, all reference and Aptra Vision and monitor management for ATM for NCR solution is here. With this, you have all visibility for monitoring in your network. Where is the network health? Where is the uptime? With the business intelligence dashboard and report, you have the inventory, you have the software distribution and electronic journal. The three model in particular licensee for Aptra Vision a complete suite. This is the network or availability model, the journal model, the software distribution model, the inventory, business intelligence model, and reconciliation model. The admin is the model for default and all the environment for all installation. But reconciliation, business intelligence, inventory, software distribution, and electronic journal is model for a separate model in the different installation to the line customer. In this moment, in this laboratory, the installation is full, but don't start the licensing to reconciliation model in this moment for this environment. But the networking monitoring model, the electronic journal, software distribution and inventory, and business intelligence is the default installation out of the box. Yeah, thank you. The next question. It's very high the user CPU and RAM. Yes, the request is yes. Aptra Vision for me have the problematic with the customization to use of RAM. Aptra Vision is a complete solution for monitor with this domain of this functionality. You have the monitoring and incident, journal, software distribution, inventory, and business intelligence. And the different model take different engines. This engine, for example, for business intelligence, the engine is necessary to use the RAM for the dashboard, for the report, for the view and design report option. All this information, all dashboard, all engines, is necessary consume memory. If you have the user CPU is very low, with the memory it's complex. The percentage for use is very high. But this reference is about Aptra Vision is an integral solution for monitor the automation to the machine area. Is for this. The next question is Rodolfo. The question is Aptra Vision have option to install in other operation system, for example Linux? No. Aptra Vision it's only compatible with operation system Windows. It's no support for other operation system. No Linux, no Red Hat, no distribution, for example Red Hat, Ubuntu, CentOS. No, the support it's only with operation system in Windows, in basic Windows. Okay, other question for Tommy. The question of Tommy is, what is the interaction or what is the process flow around the end-to-end for monitoring, starting with the unified IN and finish to the Aptra Vision web console? And with this, let me try explain to the diagram. For example, let me check 1 second. Okay. Please confirm you can the other application diagram in the application. Okay, thank you. This is NCR Architect for Aptra. But for example, if you have a unified agent, for example, with this this is the NCR agent. Okay, NCR unified agent. This unified agent run in the automation tiller machine. This one is, for example, let me check. I need the browser. My browser H. Okay, I got it. The picture to the self-service number ID 23. And now I have my ATM. Let me send this picture to the back. On the NCR ATM, install the NCR Unified Agent. Yeah, for example, let me check. This is the NCR address. Operation system as Windows 10. And version 2, the unified agent is 4. But then when they install the unified agent requests what is the IP Aptra server, and the unified agent have the IP Aptra server configuration. This is the service to the operation system. And with this, for example, take the environment production, and the unified agent is only the service on operation system. The automation theater machine have model in particular. For example, the principal dispenser, the many peak, case 1, 2, 3, 4. The EPP, the card reader. For example, when the unified agent complete the installation in the ATM and with previous configuration, the operation system, IP, IP address, MAC address, registry configuration, etc. When you finish this configuration, it's necessary to install the unified agent. The unified agent have this reference, but the unified agent don't have the knowledge to interpret it or communication with the layer XFS and the ATM. Remember that unified agent only read the layer XFS or the extension financial services. It's necessary that unified agent take configuration with module, for example, the module XF2 monitoring dispenser. This configuration is the reference knowledge module. The knowledge module is only for dispenser. And now you have the unified agent, okay? But the unified agent need other knowledge module to read, for example, read and interpret that and manage to the layer XFS for dispenser module. Yeah, it's necessary to install other knowledge module. This is the knowledge module for monitoring XFS for the module dispenser. It's necessary configuration other knowledge module to monitoring the XFS for the module EPP, for example, or card reader, or for example the monitoring, or the monitor, or for example the printer. Yeah, that's right. It is necessary, for example, take the monitoring around the availability between the unified agent and the primary server Aptra Vision application server. It's necessary configuration to the knowledge model for availability for devices. You have the opportunity to install different knowledge model. You have opportunity to install other model, for example, knowledge model for journal, other model, for example, knowledge model to file distribution, and other model, for example, to inventory. Yeah, it's modular, this monitor. In your particular scenario, for example, in the last end customer implementation for Aptra Vision, the end customer not necessary take the visibility to the journal. With this configuration, only delete this knowledge model, not install, no configuration, delete the knowledge model. And the end customer in this scenario not necessary file distribution functionalities, now delete this module, but it's necessary configuration. The availability is the first module to install and configuration. The secondary is the layer, the XFS dispenser, XFX for APP, card reader, monitoring, printer, screenshot, command, remote control, etc, and other knowledge model for inventory. With this configuration, this configuration is for the unified agent. With this configuration, it's clear the unified agent starting and the unified fire discovery with the knowledge model discovery, all the model in the ATM, model for monitoring, for card reader, for shutter, for dispenser, for safe door, for camera, etc. Discover all model, discover all the inventory, discover all the operation system, the IP address configuration, MAC configuration, the application running in the ATM, unified agent discovery, all data. Use the knowledge model to install a knowledge model to configuration previously to running the unified agent. With this, the unified agent is ready to send the data to Aptra Vision application server. Is clear the resume? Clear? Okay. Thank you. The communication is with still TLS. Now, if the high availability environment, the unified agent installed with the configuration Aptra Vision server primary and IP for Aptra Vision secondary. And with this, the unified agent send three-way handshake with the primary environment. Says check primary environment, check primary environment, check primary environment. When the primary environment is down, the unified agent check the primary environment don't respond, and with this configuration, the Aptra Vision server secondary with this option, the Aptra Vision, the NCR unified agent send all the data to the secondary server. This is the functionality. It's clear. It's necessary to the firewall here and other firewall here. It's clear. Excellent. With this, no more question that the chat is correct. All clear. All clear around the first model in the configuration is in the ATM with the unified agent and resume. The unified agent it's clear, it's okay with the configuration, and they'll send data to the primary server, send data and the secondary server, and that environment in Aptra Vision it's reference to the primary server with the database. Here it's necessary send data here, and it's necessary send information data here. Okay, that's right. Resume. The unified agent is the first layer to the monitor management and vision solution. The unified agent is the agent for monitoring, but under operation system it's only a service. It's necessary to install the knowledge model for different devices and different model for automation theater machine. For example, knowledge model for XFS layer, knowledge model for dispenser, for cassette, for APP, for card reader, for dispenser, for UPS, for screen, for shooter, for camera, for microphone, for volume. All model operation system and all layer for ATM, the unified IM had the knowledge model to monitor an integral solution. Clear this, the secondary layer is the primary and secondary server. The Aptra Vision deployed in high availability or in cluster is necessary to take the database configuration with high availability and replication that secondary environment or disaster recovery planning. With this, it's necessary to DNS server and simple mail transfer protocol, and the last layer is the end customer client PC. With this, the end customer send request to the DNS solution. For example, is necessary access to the Aptra Vision web console. The configuration of the PC is the request to the DNS server or DNS server with the load balancer configuration. Send the request to the primary or secondary. Have the pending configuration and where is the environment master. In this scenario, the master is a site number 1 production environment. Okay, now the DNS server take this information, send the load balancer, and the request on each attention for the primary server environment. If the primary server environment crash or degrade or impact to the incident, it's not accessible to the end customer. In this scenario, DNS server and the load balancing configuration send the request to the secondary environment on disaster recovery planning. And the high level, this is the architecture to the what is the end-to-end for starting and monitoring the first layer in the immersion tiering machine, the base, the unified agent. The unified agent is necessary to take configuration and active the knowledge model for different module. And with this information, the unified agent is ready to send the information to the primary or the secondary Aptra Vision application web. And resume. Or clear. In the next meeting, the next week, I explain where is the first slave in the Aptra Vision web configuration. For example, the control access. For example, the different options to starting with the role. For example, installation ATM in this environment. Let me access again. Oops. Okay. What's wrong with my password? Oh my god. Let me check. I have problematic with the password. The user is admin, the password default, and the language it's necessary in this moment United States. Oh god. Okay, no problem. The next meeting, the next week, the agent started with the resume, a refresh, the quick refresh, and the finish to meeting is necessary to take your environment clear, installation, but don't problematic in this moment for example with me when the user and the password. Take the snapshot in the virtual machine and starting with the operation process inside the CXB bank in Aptra Vision solution monitoring. Okay, I don't see more question in the chat, and it's time to finish in this moment the meeting. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for the attention. I repeat, my name is Oscar Posada. I'm from the Mexico City. My role in this moment is the solution architect. Thank you very much again, and see you the next week. Thank you. Bye bye, team.